ברוך השם. מה שלום? So welcome at home, welcome here in the yurt. Let's start with just a few minutes of grounding with the intentions of first land, then inquire how we feel right now, and also set intentions for Chevruta, for study, for exploration. So finding any comfortable position. If you feel comfortable to close your eyes, please feel free to close your eyes. Taking a deep breath in. And in the exhalation, really feeling the ground beneath you. Allowing yourself to land in every breath, in every step. Just really feeling the sensations in the body right now. Might be warmth somewhere, or coolness, pressure in the feet, your sitting bones, or legs, or acheness. Really just noticing anything that is related to the sensations, the world of asiyah, making, doing. As this is very big, dominant part of how it is that we experience the world. Through our body, through our senses, through our doing. And perhaps you can ask yourself or invite certain intentions for the next hour and a bit, that the teachings, the learnings, the experiences would be embodied into the level of the sensations. Next level of experiencing this world, this life, is through our emotions. That's akin to the world of the formation, the world of the Yetzirah. Different sensations are forming, accumulating into an emotion, a feeling. So just ask yourself first, how is it that you feel right now? How is it that your heart feels right now? And perhaps bringing the intentions to the heart. May my learnings in the next hour go straight to my heart. May the talks come out of the heart and come into the hearts, forming new relationships with ourselves, with the divine, the Creator. The next level of experiencing this world, of course, is through our mind, all our thoughts and images, also judgments, how it is that we think right now. Are the thoughts focused or spread, quiet or loud? And perhaps asking, setting intentions that may the next hour resonate with our chokhmah, with our wisdom, with our tvuna, the intelligence of the heart. May what I experience remind me what I already know. Connection to the infinite, knowledge and understandings. The last level of experiencing Ulam HaAtzilut, the world of emanation. It is a world that is beyond our body, heart and mind. It is our part that is more related to the Nefesh Elokit, our divine soul. I invite you to breathe slightly deeper. Perhaps feel how the breath comes all the way to the head and above the head. How it is that you perceive this very moment. And perhaps setting an intention of strengthening this bond to our soul, to our Creator, this thing that is beyond us. Taking a few deep breaths here. We finish this grounding meditation by a short prayer from the Siddur. Birkot Torah. It's a blessing that you say when you start learning Torah, which Torah it's translating into Bible, but the big or the deep meaning of Torah is it's a way of living. So there is no need in understanding the words. It helps, but it's okay also not to understand, and just as you see it and notice those 4 realms of creation, just notice what happens in the sensations, in the emotions, in the thoughts, and in this nefesh elokit, this divine part of the soul. Notice what happens inside. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו על דברי תורה. וערב נא אדוני אלוהינו את דברי תורתך בפינו ובפיפיות עמך בית ישראל, ונהיה אנחנו וצאצאינו וצאצאי צאצאינו וצאצאי עמך בית ישראל, כולנו יודעי שמך ולומדי תורתך לשמה. ברוך אתה אדוני המלמד תורה לעמו ישראל. This is a request to help us learn, and that way we know, we learn it, and our children children, or the work of the Creator. Taking a deep breath in, and in the exhalation letting go of this grounding meditation. Slowly coming back to the body, moving the fingers and toes. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. Welcome Serena, welcome Gail. So I study a lot from this wonderful, beautiful book called Etzot Miyemei HaShiloach, and it was written by my beloved teacher and Rabbi Yaakov Varshevski. And it talks about the parashot, the weekly portions of the Bible. And it's quite interesting. In the last parasha, in the last portion, the Israelites got the Torah. Basically, it was probably the most holiest moment, spiritual moment in the whole 5 books of Moses, the Old Testament, and on Mount Sinai they got the Torah. It was so deep. It was so deep. Those people have seen miracles, like they just crossed the Red Sea. Yeah, they saw huge miracles, and on the mountain it was said that they saw the sound and heard what they saw. Like it was a synthesa of all quite a holistic experience, really, really, really big, to that extent that they said to Moses, this is too much for us. You talk to God. We cannot bear this amount of spiritual energy. It's too much for us. Their vessel, their body and mind could not contain it. And the next part, the next parasha, the next portion of the Bible, it's this it's this quite harsh, like rules over rules, rules over rules over rules. Quite yeah, like if you do this, you die. If you do this, you die. Quite harsh, at least to my ears, or to this culture. And it's really interesting how we move from such a spiritual place to those rules about theft and mistakes and their consequences. And in this world, we see quite a strong element of duality. Like we have 2 eyes, 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 kidneys, the lungs, there's also 2 wings. There's day and night, left and right. Like there is a strong element of duality, and also here it comes. And a part of what we are asked is not only how to thrive when we are good and happy and have spiritual experiences, but also in our mundane world, also in our day-to-day. And it's hard. It's hard. It comes with quite very, very clear instructions and structure how to do it. And in a way, this is the Bible. The Bible, it's like I really like to see it as a manual, like when we buy a car or when we get a new electronic device, it comes with a manual. And also troubleshooting, that's the other books, but a manual, operating manual. And a lot of the times the saying is like, how God can be so cruel, or why is he so petty, punishing, you do this and you die, or one way to look at it is that God is cruel and vengeance, and another way to look at it is that we got a manual, an operating manual of how to operate this body, this body and heart and mind. And if we listen to it, we thrive. And if we don't listen to it, we suffer. Just like a car that has a manual with oil 2040. And if we put it, the car drives ideally. And if we put 1050, I don't know if there is such oil, but if we put a very, very different oil, it probably won't drive as good. And probably it won't last as long. And probably it would need more repairs. The car is not vengeance. It's not revenging the owner. We just don't follow we didn't follow the manual. So in a way, in this chapter, in Parashat Mishpatim, we get a lot of those chapters which are mostly ethical. Mostly ethical. Ethics. Both ethics towards another person. Like, for example, slavery was very common then. But in the Jewish laws, one of the laws that we got is that you can have a slave, but the slave, basically the conditions of the slaves in many aspects are better than the owner. You cannot own someone, basically. Like it makes it so hard. makes it so hard to have a slave that kind of signify the fact that you cannot own anyone. And then after 6 years, you need to set them free, unless they choose to stay. Also, there are rules about animals. Kind of, we get the first saying of you shall not eat meat and dairy together. And we'll get to that soon, but before, there is, in this parasha, Rabbi Yaakov Varshevski talks about 2 different ways of inner work. And I really resonated with this teaching because I find it in my life, and I wonder what is the type of work that is called. One type, or one path, is the frequent work, and the frequent work is a work that slow phases, slow, kind of really slow progression, phase after phase after phase after phase, day after day after day after day. And it's a slow progression. What comes to mind is my morning meditation or my morning prayer. It's there are days which is like, wow, amazing understanding, but it's not one moment of a life changing. It's over time. And the other path of inner work, it's called the leap work, which it's more about having an experience that it's beyond my mundane, and it's usually quite strong, or what comes to mind is that in the world of the breath work, there is a term called spiritual emergency or spiritual emergence. And it's funny because in the clinical world that could be called a psychotic attack, or a panic attack. And it's just interesting how one can look at an experience from different perspective, call it differently, and then it gets a completely different meaning. And one is something wrong within me, and one is, wow, there is a great opportunity for something really deep inside is calling for a change. And it's not calling gently, it's shaking me and telling me change it now. So yeah, luckily or not luckily, let's say luckily, it happened to me maybe 6 months ago, in a workshop that I led, and luckily I had the right supporter. But it was so strong. It was nothing that I could brush aside. It called to do big changes in my relationships with myself, with my environment. And we can look at those 2 different works, such as one work is, first, we really want to differentiate between, okay, there is something happening here, or I want to do a certain type of work. What type of work is it for me? Or if it's a frequent work, a day-to-day work, it's more of like a marathon. I will pace myself. I will run slowly, or at times I will walk. If it's a leap work, it's like a 100-meter sprint. I will give everything I have, and I will just focus on that 100%. It's a very different nature. And similarly, the work that we are doing, So a sprint or a marathon, it works on mostly the world of the world of asiya, the world of our sensation, the body, actions. But if we are looking at spiritual work, it's maybe how I focus. Am I focused 100% on that, like just that, or am I dividing my attention? So, for example, in the morning prayer, if the kids are coming, or if something is happening in the house, it's different attention if it is a marathon, or a ceremony, or we relate differently to it. So when we relate differently to it, it changes what it is. Just like what we talked about before, spiritual emergence or a panic attack. So once we know what it is, we can kind of approach it differently. And one of the blockages of taking on the work of the frequent work, the day-to-day work, is something that I can relate really much with, is the kind of the need for more. The need for more. I'm bored of my mundane life, and I just want circus of experiences. When I was young, I also was a sound engineer. It was a good excuse for me to buy like a very fancy system, and it was also my studio. But like big speakers, loud, huge screen, like so much stimulation. Also, it's quite fit to this day and age, that there is a lot of stimulation around us, and it's quite tempting. Because a part of us always wants more, like infinite, like our soul, like our divine soul. It's infinite, but it lives in a finite body. We have to limit it. So, in a way, the block of doing the frequent work, a lot of the time, is the inability to translate the power of this work to the power of life. So, for example, having a prayer or meditation, and it is so wonderful, it is small, it is so wonderful, and then I take it with me. So in a way, it is not so much about how I meditate, or how I pray, but it is about how I wash dishes afterwards, or how I take the kids from school, or how I speak to the cashier, or how I stand in the queue. So in a way, it's an inability to translate those experiences into the power of life. And in parallel to that, what I notice is that I'm chasing a thrill. I'm chasing drama. I'm chasing to be excited or to get hurt. But I'm chasing this wow. The wow effect. So the beautiful thing is that once we recognize the blockage or the inability to postpone our desires and to pace ourselves, we can also understand what is the gate. If we understand what is the blockage, we can understand nearly what is the gate. For example, if my blockage is that I have an inability to postpone my desires, and I just want more right now, the gate would be practicing on the quality of restrainment, which we practice in meditation. right? Meditation, the mind wanders, we bring it back. The mind wanders, we bring it back. The mind wanders, we bring it back. Opposed to the mind wanders, let's go with the mind. No, restrainment. We restrain into certain boundaries. And that is this parasha. This parasha is about all the laws, what you can do, what you cannot do. Again, this restrainment. Also, one of the things that we got, one of the commandments that God gives Moses in this portion is it's called the offering of the bikurim. In Hebrew it says Reshit bichurei admatcha tavi bet Adonai Elokecha. So the first fruits from your adama, from your soil, bring to the house of God. And it's really interesting because adama, it's soil in Hebrew, and Adam is human, a man. So Adam and Adama, they're very, very, very close to each other. And also they are similar in the fact that both carry fruits. Both have the ability to change a potential to an actual. The soil takes a seed with the potential, only potential, and nurtures it to a tree that bears fruits. And us, we can take a thought or an emotion or a sensation and nurture it to be an actual thing, such as this yurt, right? Like we have the ability to create. It's incredible, like it's incredible. So the sentence, the offering of the bikurim, what it says, what it teaches us is that actually when you have something, first, when you see your tree bear fruits, just starting, the fruit is starting to be created, don't take it. Don't celebrate that you're going to eat it soon also. Mark it with a little rope, and when it's ready, you bring it to the temple as an offering. So it really teaches us to postpone our desires to consume what we really want. It's very deep, because once we learn that, imagine there wouldn't be addictions, right? Like, yeah. So I found it really, really beautiful. So how the deep elements of those sentences, one can look at it as just actions and punishments, or even actions and consequences, but Pnimiut Torah, the internal Torah, is how is it translating into my own way of living. The jumping work or the leaping work has a different nature. It's because it's connected to our soul and it's beyond our body, heart, mind. It's also beyond time. So this is why, we can have experiences and be completely changed from a short period of time. And we're leaping beyond time. Because this calling, this work, it is not coming from the soil that takes a lot of time to nurture and grow and bear fruits. It comes from a different place. For me, it happened in that experience that I shared, or when we moved to Tasmania, and when we changed, when the whole things. The whole life is changing. When you change a job or change relationships, big changes in life usually bring with them a disconnection from this world and from the materialistic world. Can bring, not usually, can bring. And perhaps access different levels within us, such as the Nefesh Elokit, the divine part within us. So when it is happening, actually, when the leap work is taking place, one really nice thing that may happen in it is that if we listen to it and if we do that type of work, we see a quality of returning light. In Hebrew, it says Or Chozer, returning light. It's like there is light through us, we let it go through, out, and it's coming back. There is a different term of it in the holy New Age language, synchronicity, right? Oh, I just thought about that, and there it comes in front of me. This is just what I needed, and it comes to me. It feels good. It feels good. It's like what we intentionally asked, or did not ask, but had the will, comes to us without us chasing it. Returning light. And our blockage that can come in this type of work, it's that we are not giving into it, because it requires a lot of trust, and it requires a lot of letting go, in a way, trusting the unknown, flowing. The work of the frequent is quite structured and paced. So our familiar and our habits, the things that we take safety on, can be those things that delay us and not allowing us to continue to the leaping work. So, yes. By the way, the leaping work is called Kedusha, which is sacred. It's called sacred because there is this beautiful synchronization between our behavior to our divine soul, Nefesh Elokit. So the sentence about the fruits, about the first offering of the fruits you'll give to temple, follows by a sentence that you should not do not cook kid, like young goat, in its mother's milk. So there are 3 references in the Torah that says things like that, and based on that, Jewish people, or if you observe Judaism, you don't eat meat and dairy together. And there are a few reasons, really, like there is a lot of ethics around it and morals, and also about not mixing, like, yeah, we won't go there, but about giving things space. Okay, now it's time for that, now it's time to sleep, now it's time to be awake. Now it's time to ground, now it's time to fly. Now it's time for the frequent work, and now it's time for the leaping work. And the sentence hints to you will not cook, you will not stay, you will not delay something. And it's not just something, kdi, which is kid, which is the qualities of kid, is they're young and they're jumping, hopping from place to place without too much contemplation about what they're going to do. They're just just living life. So you will not delay it in its mother's milk. Mother's milk, external nurture, safety, comfort. Like that's probably the most comfortable place to be, right? Like breastfeeding from your mom. Like, wow. So the sentence refers to it can be understood, and this is how Rabbi Yaakov Varshevski explains it, that it's a guidance not to hinder our progress or the changes that we seek by relying excessively on external comforts and securities. Such as sometimes it's the frequent work, sometimes, or sometimes it's a very secure job, or a very safe relationship, or stable relationship. Yeah, so it's really interesting. It's really interesting how this parasha can be read with so many strict rules, and also be seen as a beautiful operation manual, how to operate this body and this mind and this heart, how to connect to the soul. Would anyone like to ask something or comment or share something? I'll just pause. Yeah, it's such a good question. Thank you. So it seems like things are quite brutal over there. Like stoning to death a 13-year-old because he made a mistake. How to translate it into our day-to-day life. I've heard from my rabbi, Rabbi Yaakov Varshevski, something that I really resonated with, and it was about halacha. Halacha are like the rules. And again, I am not a rabbi, and this is just my understanding of it. There are many halachot. There are many, there is a whole, there are many types of halachot, and there are many halachot, how to do a certain thing. And what I've learned is that when the teaching was, when you hear about an halacha, by the way, is halacha is walking. When you hear of a way for you to walk that you resonate with, walk it. And this is how we translate it into our own life. So first it starts with, we hear about it. Okay, we hear about it, it goes through our mind. How do we feel with it? So the world of creation, and then the world of formation, things are forming inside of us in regards to that. The thoughts affect the emotions. Okay, Let's translate it into actions. It moves into the world of Asiya, the world of the making and the doing. And this is really how we translate it into what works for us. I yeah, like it can sound so harsh. Also, we need to remember that we need to remember that it was 3,000 years ago or more. and over then, things were very, very, very different. Very different. Like sacrificing your kids was like a very common thing to do. Yeah, like you offer your first kid to a god. So in a way, life and death had a very different, very different relationship. Very different attitude was towards it. Yeah, it's a very good question. Thank you. Did that answer your question?
A bit. It did. But I was just wondering, are there sources, good books or something where the translation of these ancient rules into more, how do I relate it to my daily life to deepen my spirituality and get in touch with my godly soul? Like, how do I translate these thousands of year old rules that I'm unfamiliar with? Like, is there a good book that will help with the interpretation?
Of the parashot, I don't know. I see that the Gordons are here. Maybe he could tell you. I can recommend on this book, which Practical Kabbalah by Rabbi Leib Wolf. It's a really good book, really easy to read also, and I am ordering a book for kids, for kids about the parasha to read with my daughter, and I have a feeling that would be adjusted, adjusted to something more palatable for us. I'll let you know after I read it how it is.
Yeah, definitely. I think that book sounds like the one for me, the one that's for kids. Break it down to a kindergarten level. Yeah, that's what I need.
So it's from the Vice edition of the parasha. They have Pirkei Avot and about the parashot. Yeah, thank you, Andrea. Thanks for the question. Did you want to ask something?
You shared your story about your deep experience a couple months ago, and it seems like it comes as a surprise in a moment of change or in a moment of deep spiritual work. But in your story, it seems like you can also work towards it, towards a deep experience or towards your deep work. So, what?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, Ellen asked, leap work could come to me suddenly, right? It could happen suddenly from external source, or it could be something that we walk towards it. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it happen suddenly, or do you work towards it and then you know when this is the moment where it will happen?
It's a good question. I think both. I think that sometimes it comes from externally by a surprise, and sometimes we can walk towards it, such as we go to do a ceremony. We go to do like Yom Kippur properly. You know, like even in Jewish holidays, there are some holidays where you fast. You fast for long time, or you initiate processes. Breath work is one of them, and that yeah, that we initiate it. So yeah, both.
So is it then more about being open for the experience?
Yes, yes. So being open to the experience is really, really, really important because it's so strong. And if we are not open to it, it will open us, and then it's a very unpleasant experience. So for me, in that workshop that I facilitated, I did not want it to open then because I could not attend it. That was not my role to have those experience. My role was to to be grounded and be the facilitator. I cannot go out of that now. And I needed to go out of it, and luckily I had the support. Yeah. So be open to it. Being open to it is really, really. I think it's a really important thing. Letting go. Yeah, thank you. Good question. All right. We don't have much time. Time goes really fast. Let's do a meditation, huh? Would you like to do a 15 minutes meditation? Okay, so the meditation, I wanted to do meditation on both the letter Aleph and Bet, but let's focus on just the letter Bet. So the letter Bet is the second letter in the Hebrew alphabet, and also it is the first letter that Torah starts with. Now this meditation will be from the book of what I just shared with you, the Practical Kabbalah by Rabbi Wolf, and the Omen cards, which are Omen cards are cards that you can get. I'll share links later. So find any comfortable position, and first let's start with just closing our eyes. Taking a deep breath in, and in the exhalation letting go of the body. And just notice how you feel right now. Notice how the words, the teachings that you've heard land on you. And when you feel ready, I invite you to gently open your eyes and choose one card, either the black on white or the white on black, and just look at it. Look at the strokes, the shapes. Look at the words, distinction, havdalah. Also kind of just noticing in mind what comes up in response. Bet is the second letter of the Hebrew alphabet. It literally means home. So look at the letter, breathe, notice what comes up when you hear the word home. When you hear the word or the concept of home, what comes to mind, to heart, to body? Compared to the letter Aleph, the first letter, Bet is the feminine, when Aleph is the masculine. As we said, it is also the letter that opens up the Torah. Bereshit, in the beginning. Notice the shape, which is like a house. With one way in, one way out. As you breathe. Imagine the world is a house. Notice that one side is open to God. Remaining three are closed. In the same way, knowledge of the beginning is close to us. We cannot really know. Bet is the second letter corresponding to the second day of creation, where God divided the waters into two realms. I invite you to think about those two realms of consciousness, the higher and the lower, the sky and the earth. as you breathe. The Hebrew word of blessing also begins with the letter Bet. And also create begins with the letter Bet. I invite you, with eyes open or closed, just to meditate on how the world is built, created, on a flow of blessings. Despite its challenges and adversities. We live in a world where nothing stands alone. Everything is in relation. Sky and earth, good and bad, darkness and light. The letter Bet is the act of observation. That creates our world. Symbol of duality. The up and the down, the left and the right. Lower realms, the upper realms. Animalistic soul, the godly soul. We breathe, we inhale and we exhale to it all. As we're coming closer to the end of this practice, the end of this session, I invite you to once again come inside to your inner realms, your inner world. Checking in with the sensations in the body, the emotions, the thoughts, your godly soul. And ask yourself, what would you like to take from this session? One thing that you've heard and that you resonate with. One experience that you had in your body or in your heart or in your mind or in your soul that you would like to embody, take on. Taking a deep breath in. The exhalation, releasing the body. Your eyes are closed, slowly in your own time. Coming back. Looking once again on the letter Bet. What is it that you would like to create for yourself? Slowly, slowly coming back. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask